Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we are going to dive into the weekend for the OKC Thunder tonight. They have a matchup against the Indiana Pacers, a little NBA Finals rematch in OKC tonight. They also have the Raptors coming to town on Sunday, so we'll talk more about that game, and I think how that game could be really good. And then towards the end, we will do our week in review. Since it is our Friday show, we'll kind of review the past week and what has gone on in Oklahoma City Thunder news. But before we get into it, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. You guys can use this QR code right here to scan it, get more information on it, but we'll continue to tell you about Underdog Fantasy and all the awesome things you can get by scanning this QR code as we get into the video. But once again, a huge shout out and thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. But let's dive into this. The Pacers and Thunder, a little NBA Finals rematch tonight in Oklahoma City. And over this weekend, there's going to be a lot of question marks. As most of you are aware, inside the United States, there's a big winter storm coming. And for OKC, we're going to be getting hit with a lot of snow as well. So this could kind of affect some plans, especially the Raptors Thunder game on Sunday. It looks like we're going to be good for this Pacers Thunder game tonight, but that Raptors Thunder game could kind of be a question mark, but hopefully we do get these games in as planned. But for this Pacers Thunder game, this is a game that we played the Pacers once. It was the second game of the season, and to put it plainly, the Pacers are one of the worst teams in basketball, and it really just shows how valuable Tyrese Maxey was to that team. And I think also Miles Turner, him leaving to go to the Milwaukee Bucks is also another thing. But this really just shows, and I think the Pacers are they don't really mind where they're at because they're really trying to do what the Warriors did a few years ago, where they felt they were really bad for 1 year. They end up getting a top 3 pick. The Warriors got Wiseman, kind of struck out on that pick, but if the Pacers can get a top 3 or 4 pick, you know that at least the top 3 guys should be really good NBA players, and even 4 depending on who they want to go with at that point. But the Pacers are still in a really good spot. I think if they get a top 5 pick, get everybody healthy, get Tyrese back next year, there should be no reason that they're not right up there in contention with the Celtics and Knicks once again next year for the Eastern Conference. But for this game tonight, I think the Thunder will have no problem. The only thing is the injury bug is kicking our butt at this point in the season. We're just kind of trying to get the Thunder to the All-Star break so we can kind of reset for a few days and get everybody back going. But looks like for tonight, AJ Mitchell will be out with that strain. He left the game. The last game he left, so that one he is going to be out for this one. You also have J-Dub, Caruso, and Hartenstein. All of those guys are still, and Aaron Wiggins and Jalen Williams, will be questionable. So there's a very good chance we have 8 guys still that are out and that are big parts of this rotation. So we could very well see another game where we're running out there Usman, Jane, Barnhizer, Carlson, all those guys, and really rely on guys like Shea, Chet, other guys like that. So it's going to be interesting because we know AJ Mitchell's kind of been that secondary scorer to Shea, and with him out, that's a whole nother scorer, somebody that's going to have to make up for 20 points. So you're going to have to look to guys like an Isaiah Joe to go out there. We're probably going to need another 35, near 40-point performance. We're going to need a much better performance out of Chet than what he had against the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going to need a couple of those guys to step up. It looks like, if I had to guess, the starting lineup would most likely be Shea, Dor, Isaiah Joe, Chet, and maybe, I don't know who else would be in that 5. So it could get very interesting very quick. Maybe Kenrich Williams out there. So those 5, whoever starts, maybe Cason Wallace, I would guess, is probably in that starting lineup actually. We're going to need those guys to go out there and be offensive engines. We know Lou Dort and Cason Wallace, those guys are defensive first guys, but we really need them to step up and be able to hit some shots tonight to be able to take down this Indiana Pacer team. But now we'll talk about the game that I think will be a lot better of a game and a lot closer in the Toronto Raptors and OKC Thunder game on Sunday night. And Raptors have really impressed a lot of people so far this year. They're playing a lot better in the weaker Eastern Conference than some might have think. And it really comes down to their 2 guys in Emmanuel Quickley and Scotty Barnes. I think these 2 guys are some of the most underrated players in the entire league, especially Scotty Barnes. Just his ability to defend at all 5 levels. He can score like crazy. He's going to be a guy that is going to be hard to stop, and we know Quickley is going to be that much better. So I really feel like we're going to try to do a Casey Wallace on Emmanuel Cooking and a Lou Dort on Scotty Barnes to start. Maybe Kenrich Williams kind of switching in and out. But they're a good team. It's going to be fun to see how we match up with them. This is the first time we will be playing the Toronto Raptors, and obviously Shea is from Canada, so he always wants to show out against his Canadian team. So I think this will be a really good game. The Raptors have really played well so far, and they continue to impress a lot of people, and they can end up being a top 4 seed in the weaker Eastern Conference and really set them up to have themselves a home series, at least in their favor, in the first round of the Eastern Conference Finals. Block Party, buzzer beaters, and fast breaks are back, and Underdog Fantasy is the best place to get in on all of the action. Playing Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Download the app today and use promo code BASKETBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That is promo code BASKETBALLFAN. Underdog, make picks, win money, must be 18 years or older to play.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text HOMI 467-369.
And now we'll talk about the matchup to watch for this Toronto Raptors game. And I just kind of mentioned it a little bit ago, but I think it's going to come down to how we're going to be able to score outside of Shea. I think we know what Shea's going to give us, but it's going to come down to your guys like a Chet, Casey Wallace, Kenrich Williams, Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort, your guys that are used to playing rotational minutes but kind of need to take that step up in this game. And I think one of your guys of a Brandon Carlson, Ousmane Dieng, Brooks Barnhizer, one of those guys needs to be able to play a good chunk of minutes. I think it's going to be Brandon Carlson, and go out there and put up at least 6 or 8 points with a few rebounds and just play really good defense on that side of things. But it really just comes down to who will step up outside of Shea and how the Toronto Raptors will approach that, because we know the Raptors are going to realize how many guys are out, and they're pretty much going to try to limit Shea as much as they can, probably throw some double teams, and force a lot of these other guys to go out there and beat them. So if we can have Isaiah Joe really get going off rip, can Chet Holmgren go out there, get a 3, a bucket, and be the defensive anchor, that's really is what's going to help this Thunder team continue and get on this winning streak. And if we win both of these games tonight against the Pacers and on Sunday against the Toronto Raptors, we're looking at a 39-8 record and a possibility to get to 40 wins before we even get to 9 losses at that point, which would be really good. Because if you guys don't know, the 40-20 rule is a thing that was made up by, I believe, by Phil Jackson back in the day. It's like the teams that get 40 wins before they get 20 losses are the only contenders in the entire league. So that's just something that has been around, and it's really come true. All the teams that have won championships for I think maybe only a couple, have hit 40 wins before their 20 losses. And for the Thunder to get 40 wins before even getting double-digit losses, that's just a whole nother tier of all-time rankings. And there's a possibility, depending on how well this Thunder team plays, if they play well enough, possibly get to 50 wins before they get these next 2 losses and possibly be 50-9. But we'll wrap up this video talking about just the week in general. And this week's big topic was just the injury bug hitting the Thunder. And we kind of talked about it a little bit with the Pacers game in this injury report and how the Thunder have to attack it. But I think it's just a thing at this point in the season where we're all getting banged up, and we really just need to get to that All-Star break where we can have those 3 or 4 days to kind of reset, get everybody treatment, and get going once again. And I think once we do that, the Thunder will be really set up well. It's just kind of one of those things where every team has to deal with that injury bug, and we would much rather deal with it now here in January than in April and May when we're getting into the playoffs and really need everybody to be at their absolute best. So at least at this point, we know that it's still early on. We can get everybody healthy, and we're still winning games like crazy and still the best team in the league. But something to kind of watch as we continue to get closer to the All-Star break if we can get everybody back and healthy. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what your thoughts are about all this injury stuff. Do you think that we maybe need to make a trade for somebody at the deadline? Let me know that down below, because we're getting close to the trade deadline. So those kind of rumors will start spiraling up a lot as we get even closer. But that'll be it for me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.